Today on the Freemasonry Report, running an effective officers meeting and getting ready for it. I hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, this is the Freemasonry Report doing another video. Today we're going to be talking about running effective officer meetings and what you can do to prep for them so they're really successful. An effective officers meeting really starts with getting your key officers together prior to the officers meeting so you can talk about what you want to have on the agenda. This should include planning, strategizing, opening, and sharing things that you need to actually cover prior to talking to the whole officer corps and then talking to the whole general fraternity. What this does, it gets your wardens and yourself on the same page with the treasurer and the secretary so everyone's aware what you want to have covered and why you want to cover it. This meeting should always be informal, just somewhere nice and relaxed, nice and calm. It shouldn't be immediately before the officers meeting. You should want to set some time aside so everyone's aware that they're going to get together, going to talk about things. It shouldn't be kicking stones in the parking lot, that informal, but you definitely want to maybe just have a cup of coffee and sit around in the lodge cafeteria and just get things accomplished and really focus on what you want to talk about and why you want to talk about it. Okay, the first thing you want to do is you want to review the plan of the functioning committees and the functions that your lodge is going to be doing. You want to talk about those in just an informal way, what you want to see your outcomes be. So when you bring forward these ideas and these topics about what's functioning and happening, you're already on the same page of the desired outcome the key group of 5 officers of the lodge wants to see happen. The second thing you want to do is you want to do it at the same place. So if you say, hey, we're going to have a cup of coffee at the lodge, do it there every time. So it's always the same place. Everyone's always knows where they're going. It's not going to say one day we're meeting at Dunkin' Donuts, one day we're meeting at the lodge, one day we're meeting at Starbucks, one day we're meeting at the Scottish Rite Valley office, one day we're meeting at the Shrine. No, just always have it be at the same place. So wherever you guys want to get together and talk about things, that is where it should be. Also, idea number 3, do it at the same time in the same place each time. So, and the same date. Though when you tie those 3 things together, you want to have the same place so they know it's easy for them to remember where they need to go to. But when you say the same time, they can just plug it into their calendar. And everyone these days has smartphone calendars, and they have email calendars, and they have desktop calendars. So you just plug it in and say, 7 p.m. at XYZ location on Thursday night, we're going to be having a conversation. At 5:30 in the morning, XYZ location, we're going to be having a conversation. I know each lodge is different. So some of you might be listening to this and say, 5:30 in the morning, oh my gosh. But really what happens is if you have people that work on different shifts, they work in different parts of the country and different parts of the world, 5:30 may actually be the best time of the day to get your officers together. Number 4, this is your meeting. As a worshipful master, you have the agenda. You're in control of everything that's going to be talked about, conversations going to be had. Yes, you have elected officers, but this is your agenda for your meeting. The same way you have the agenda for the lodge meeting, the same way you have the agenda for the officers meeting. This is your meeting, and you want to have the agenda for it. And you want to make sure there's no surprises at all. Okay, 4.1. What you want to do is you want to call all your officers of your lodge prior to the meeting and just get them engaged of what's going to be on the agenda for that meeting so they can come already pre-prepared. If they have some things they want to talk about, that you're not surprising them. Back when I was a past master, and I am a past master, but back when I was a worshipful master and I was in my lodge, I would ask these fun questions just to get the brothers to know each other, and it was on the spot. It was kind of fun. But anytime I had something operational and functional that was important to cover, what I ended up doing is I would have pre-conversations with everyone so there was no surprises and no one was shocked and everyone was on the same page right away for what we were going to be talking about. Okay, now if you think I'm doing good work here, like, subscribe on YouTube, like, subscribe on Facebook, like, subscribe on Instagram. 4.2. Okay, what I want you to do is don't have open discussions until the end of the meeting. You save all the open discussions for the end. So this way you guys can get through everything, because you may have like 10 agenda items, you may have 20 agenda items, or you may just have like 5 agenda items, who knows? But this is the time just to rock and roll through those, and then save the open discussion till the end. If someone has a story they want to share, if someone has something that they want to elaborate on but doesn't really hit upon the agenda item, save it for the end so you can have a very productive meeting, and people that are coming to the meeting don't feel like I'm just wasting my whole evening being here and there's no controls whatsoever in place, and they're wasting my time, and my time is valuable. 4.3, and you notice I'm wearing my past master's ring today? Very cool stuff. All right, 4.3 is also very important. It's something a lot of people fail to do. Stick to the agenda. Just stick to it. Whatever it is you have written down, stick to it. You have the open discussion at the end on purpose. So if something comes to mind and you notice you forgot to add it to your agenda, just don't worry, add it to the end at the open discussion. That's why you have the open discussion. So if there was something that was important that came up in the last hour prior to the meeting, you can sort of have that in the open discussion area. And that's not uncommon. There's things that might pop up. Number 5, make reports required. At this informal planning meeting, make reports required. Ask people when you're talking on the phone with them about the agenda items to actually be prepared to participate and give honest assessments of where things are at, where things are going to be at, what the outcome goals are, what the changes in the plan might be. So everyone on the key organization elected leadership can actually sort of know what's happening before you roll it out to the officers and to the craft. By doing this, by having the reports to be required, you're actually making your lodge much more effective in what they want to achieve. Number 6, discuss the status of what you're trying to achieve for your given year as master, whatever it is. If it's a building project, if it's doing more community events, if it's something else I'm not even naming. These are thousands of things that you might want to get accomplished, and each one of them is good because it's really relevant to your local area or to you personally. Me personally, during my year, one of my big projects that I was trying to push was setting up a hurricane relief fund, because I'm here in Florida, and in Florida every year, guaranteed, there's a high probability a hurricane is going to hit somewhere in the state or somewhere in the Caribbean. It's a guaranteed, or somewhere in the East Coast. So by having a hurricane relief fund, we're helping out our families and our brothers wherever the hurricane hits, so we get some money to them, which is a really cool idea. But the purpose is, by having the ability to discuss where things are at, you can actually engage your brothers to make sure whatever campaign goals you have set or they have set are actually coming to fulfillment. By the end of the year, yes, we did have a hurricane relief fund, and that was huge. And brothers got on board and they donated a couple bucks here, a couple bucks there. Over the course of the next few years, it's going to grow tremendously, wildly, to benefit all the families of the fraternity. But you have your own thing, and you need to make sure everyone's on the same page and gets on the same page and gets the buy-in to whatever your big goal or goals are for the year. Okay, 6.1. You want to update your team on the goals that you have achieved, your campaigns that you're pushing, and you want your team to update you. 6.2. I know there's a lot of these little ones, but what you also want to do is you want to get started early on these type of informal meetings and getting everyone on the same page on the status of things. So the second you get elected, I think it's okay to have an informal meeting with the other people that have been elected to get them started to thinking and talking about the things you want to get accomplished during your year. Now, granted, there's a sitting master and you always want to respect him, but it is a transition period, and the transition starts with the election. And once the election happens, that's the time to start saying, okay, I'm going to start getting people talking, communicating, making plans. So once we're installed, I'm not starting to have those conversations then. They're already in the works. What I'm doing pretty much is executing challenges we need to get accomplished, goals we want to accomplish, obstacles we need to make go away for our fraternity and our local Blue Lodge experience. 7. This is really important. Now, a lodge calendar is something everyone talks about that they want to have and they want to do, and they're like, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a lodge calendar. you need to review 30, 60, and 90 days out on the calendar with your informal leadership. And you want to get the key individuals, those elected officers, to be aware of what's going to be happening over this set period of time frames. So everyone is on the same page, you know what's going on, there's no surprises. What I always dislike is when the master jumps out and says, okay, next week is family night. And you're like, what? When did this happen? Where's the calendar? Why am I hearing about this now? So what you want to do is you want to get your key people in place and then roll it down to the officers, roll it out to the craft, so everyone knows what your calendar looks like and what you're trying to accomplish and what time frames you want to see them accomplished in. 8. It's a never-ending list, guys. But brothers, trust me, you're going to be appreciative when you get to this next one. You want to actually also, in this key grouping, get together and discuss the key events that are happening around the district and around the Grand Lodge so everyone gets on the same page. Many people forget to say, hey, let's get all the newly appointed and elected officers their hotel rooms for Grand Lodge, communication. Hey, we have open books. We have a training session. We have a memorial lodge. If your district has those items, we have a district meeting and what the objectives are for those things. So everyone's aware of the events that are coming up. They do come into play, especially if you have a Grand Line officer in your district in a given year that's moving up the line. They may have a special fundraiser to help him offset some of the cost of going through the line, the Grand Line. So you want to have a conversation about that so everyone's aware that that conversation is coming about, and these are the things beyond the Blue Lodge and how your Blue Lodge can be the diamond in the rough and make a difference for the district level and maybe some things that are going on in the Grand Lodge. A great example of that is some Grand Lodges actually have competitions where they have the degrees and the Blue Lodges to try to show they are perfect at the degree with no mistakes. Your lodge might say, hey, this year we're going to take that challenge on. We're going to do that. If that's the case, that's great. So you need just to plan ahead and say, we need to talk as a key group about that, because no one wants to get surprised at the meeting for the whole craft that you want to do this big activity the Grand Lodge is putting on, but none of the brothers, none of the officers are comfortable or even aware or ready for that conversation to be happening. Number 9, this is it. This is the final one. You made it. You made it. For those that are still watching, thank you very much for still watching. Number 9 is you want to have no surprises. 0 surprises. This is so important. I said it before, but I'm going to say it again. You don't want to have any surprises. You want every one of your officers to feel comfortable and knowledgeable that you are going to share things with them and you're going to be on the same page with them, from the pre-planning stages to the informal meeting to the officer meetings to the craft. You want to make sure everything that you do during your given year is surprise free. And when you do that, you're going to have a very successful year. You're going to be seen as a very transparent master and a very transparent group of officers, a very transparent group of elected officers, the whole 9 yards. Everything perpetuates. So if you start with no surprises at the top, there's no surprises in the craft as well. I hope this has been helpful. This has been a little bit longer. I know I covered 9 different topics, but I think it's going to be very useful for you to have a successful year in your Blue Lodge, wherever it might be. Okay, a little disclaimer I want to just push out there, because I know I'm covering a lot of information during these videos, but it's really important that you're aware that I'm not representing any Grand Lodge. I'm doing this because I really feel some of the things that I can offer can make a difference. These videos and these blog articles are there to inspire you to actually become better leaders and brothers inside of Freemasonry. Now, with that being said, it's really important to be aware that you could take a sliver of an idea, the whole idea, or reject the whole idea and say, I disagree with you, and this is not the right thing for me and my lodge, or I disagree with you, period. And that's fine. That's Freemasonry. That's what it's about. And I want you to have those thoughts, because if you're thinking from what I'm talking about, then what I'm doing is relevant. So with that being said, I hope you enjoy it. Again, click like and subscribe on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, anywhere on the web that Freemasonry Report's at. And thank you for watching.